From Nostalgic Books and Comics in San Gabriel, California, it's Dre's Geek Philosophy, the Monday edition, the April 22nd edition. What is going on? We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitch, and we're recording for our faithful podcast listeners, the handful of people who do listen to this podcast, on SoundCloud, on Stitcher, or on Apple Podcasts, which a lot of people apparently, I'm on this share your podcast or promote your podcast page. A lot of people are like, no, Apple Podcast.
Why?
Oh. Some people just really hate Apple. I don't know. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I have no major issue with eating apples. I don't know what the problem is, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a dude who likes to come on the internet and talk about random pop culture and explain some of it. You know what's happening right now as we speak, Mr. Millina? Mr. Millina here showed me a video, right? The Avengers Endgame premiere is happening right now. Yeah. Right at this very moment. The Avengers Endgame premiere is happening in Hollywood, California, in the only two nice blocks of Hollywood, which are closed right now at the moment. Thankfully, I never had to deal with that one. During that year where I worked for Disney. Take a drink. I never had to deal with that. I had to watch everyone leave, and then I basically had the office to myself. Whenever some premiere happened, I basically just sat at the office. I'm like, la la la, just doing like chair races with a couple other contract workers. As the rest of the entire publicity office was banished or sent off to go fight in Helm's Deep, so to speak, at these premieres. And actually, a couple of our guests, two of our guests who were on the show last year, Utahema Cosplay and Andrew J. Alandi, they're there right now. They've been promoting on their social media that they're out there dressed up as Tony Stark and as Gamora, the galaxy's most dangerous woman. They're out there right now with a whole bunch of other cosplayers. I guess Marvel/Disney got hip to like, hey, there's a lot of people who like to dress up as these characters, so they invite them down.
Oh, that's cool.
I hope they get to watch the movie, at least in one of the other side theaters. They have plenty of theaters. I'm sure, whatever theater they're using, whether it's I think it's the Man's Chinese.
That's better the El Capitan, no?
Oh, they alternate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sometimes it's the Cap. Sometimes it's really weird. It varies by the movie. Sometimes they use the Chinese theater. Sometimes they use, and then each of those theaters has a bunch. Except the El Cap only has like one screen. Sometimes they like to have the other screens because they have one is press, and then the other is the actual cast and crew, and then the others they have a bunch of radio stations have take us to the premiere. Like they don't get to sit with the movie stars. No, they get shuffled off to another side theater. Yeah. They get, like when we go to the theater where we're usually in theater 1. Yeah, these people are shoved off at theater 5, theater 8, far away from the famous people who are there. Who I don't even know if they even stick around. Heaven knows. Yeah, you always hear stories of that. Like sometimes they're there, they're on the little carpet. Hey, hi everybody, how's it going? And then off they leave. I don't need to see this, or I don't watch any work that I perform in. So that's happening as we speak right now. Not to encourage you to leave our show and go check social media, but that's happening right now. Some of my friends who I worked with back when I worked at Disney are off dealing with that right now. Yeah. You know what else everyone's dealing with right now? Last night, episode 2 of Game of Thrones final season dropped, and my brave fiance, Rosa, she is let me tell you the crazy thing that she's doing, because she's never watched Game of Thrones. So last week she watched all of she watched the first she had seen just the first episode. So she decided fuck it, I'm gonna Quentin Tarantino this shit. So that way I was willing to wait to watch this season until after she was done. She's like, oh fuck that shit. She watched episode 1. I think she watched episode 2. We watched episode 1 last week. She watched it with me, and I was just like, I think I might have talked about this last week. So she made her way through the entirety of season 1 over the course. She's gonna watch every season. Yeah. So she's by episode 2, she had finished season 1. By next episode 3, she'll watch all of season 2. She's kind of Quentin Tarantino, and you know what? It's kind of fucking working. Because there's a lot of callbacks that, especially right now, there's been a lot of callbacks that happen to older seasons, which are paying off for her, and she's just like, oh wow, that's really fucking cool. Yeah. And so, I don't know, spoilers. In the very first episode of the show, it's this one guy who's banging his sister. He pushes the kid out the window. Bran, for those of you who watch the show. And so we pay that off where it's like, oh, the first time that those characters see each other is at the end of last week's episode. Oh,
Yeah.
the douchebag who chased him off is gone on this crazy, emotional journey. He sees the kid that he gets crippled and like, oh shit, and then they deal with it in last night's episode. And last night's episode was very well. I know you're not into fantasy, but last night's episode, I saw a friend of mine refer to it as the first disc of the Two Towers.
Oh.
Where it's a lot of setup building for next week because it's a lot of you had all these emotional moments with all these characters. A lot of these characters, all the good guys are all huddled up in one castle because death is coming. There is going to be like the battle to end all battles. It is the living versus the dead. That's what's That's what's going to happen. And then everyone's having these little emotional moments, and there's a lot of funny shit that happens. It's really great, and I had to really resist explaining everything to Rosa because she's sitting there watching. She's enjoying it, and she's like, "Fucking, I'm Tarantino in this shit." And like last week, I kept going like, I wanted to like speak up. This time, I actually held back a lot. She's like, "Why are they doing this?" I'm like, "Reasons. I can't tell you. I want you to enjoy it when you get to season 6 or season 7 in a couple weeks." And there's all these like touching moments, and there's a really great meme that a friend of mine, Shannon, had posted. It was so awesome, like out of context spoilers, and it was perfect.
Yeah,
it was really great. And if you watch the show, just go to my personal Facebook page. Yeah, it's gonna be great because the last like there's this argument between the two characters.
Yeah,
and then the last thing you hear is like these 3 horns go off. The dead are here, and end of episode.
Yeah.
And then next week, it's like they barely showed it. Like it's funny. They go, "Oh, next week on Game of Thrones or whatever." It's like, nope, they barely show a goddamn thing. And right there, it's like, "Oh, fuck Daenerys." And then Rolando with the great joke. I think her nephew did. Yes, that happened. He didn't know he was fucking his aunt, but he did. What can you do? I mean, if they've already established that brother and sisters fucking is okay, hey, maybe a little aunt and nephew action. When neither of them know, it's okay. They didn't know.
They didn't know.
As long as once they figure out that they are. Game of Thrones! Here, yeah. Spoiler-free review of last night. Somebody got some ass. Somebody got knighted. Somebody drank a lot of milk. That's why in the photo, like you see, the Stone Cold Steve Austin cover his face in milk. It all makes sense if you watch the show. It all makes sense. It's very silly. Something that is not silly. Something I discovered today when I was doing some research for the show. To shift gears completely. Let's shift gears away from the GOT. I learned today that China, I guess they had been kind of like they're starting to open up to media.
Yeah,
they're very closed off.
Yeah.
If you try to go to China and try to access your social media, you can't.
Yeah,
you can't access Facebook or Twitter or anything. Everything is very, very controlled. That government, a lot of people don't understand what freedom of speech is. Yeah, go to China, and then you'll understand what the difference is in freedom of speech. You can't do shit.
Yeah.
Here, we can do almost whatever we goddamn please as far as the government is concerned.
Yeah.
Over there, you can't do shit. So today, it was I read an article that China has they had frozen all video game movement. I guess they're allowing the Nintendo Switch to come out. They go back and forth on video games.
Yeah.
So just recently, they're allowing video games to come to China again because there's 1.4 billion people. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of potential customers. There's $30 billion in revenue when they were allowed. I guess for the last 10 months they haven't allowed any games. They've frozen all video game movement. You could not buy games legally. I'm sure illegally. Yeah. I'm sure they're figuring out ways. But the way China controls the internet, there might be a bit of problem.
Yeah.
So they're allowing video games, but they've put in some rules that might be problematic for some popular games. So the first, the smaller rules, like the games cannot have any mahjong or poker because apparently they have a humongous gambling problem.
Yeah.
In China.
I heard about that. The internet poker is like ridiculous out there.
Oh yeah. They love gambling. I mean, if you're from Southern California, just go swing by the Bicycle Club Casino.
Yeah.
And you find the pai gow tables just flooded with Chinese men. Like, haha, fuck you, China. I can come to America and gamble. Haha. So video games cannot have any gambling. So like a game like Red Dead Redemption would not be allowed because there's poker. They'd have to take out the poker.
Yeah.
Like something like that would not be allowed. But so to speak, continuing on here, there cannot be any imperial history of China. So games like Dynasty Warriors or stuff like that, or you cannot deal with anything that talks about Chinese history. I guess probably in a negative light.
Yeah.
Nothing that can put them negatively. They see again. This is all about the control. They want to control the narrative very much, and so. And then the last thing, which I was very surprised, and how very sweeping there, no blood and no corpses.
Oh.
And the thing about blood is like you can't just change it like back in the old Super Nintendo days. Okay, it's not blood coming off the Mortal Kombat characters; it's sweat. Where I'm punching the sweat off. Ha ha! Oh no, you can't have any color. No, you can't change it to green. Oh, it's not humans you're killing; it's aliens. That's perfectly fine. Halo got away with that for years. We're shooting aliens. That's fine. Look at the green slop everywhere. Now, apparently, no violence, no blood, no corpses, no mutilating of people. So, like your Red Deads and your Resident Evils and all your big time games that rely on that good old steady flow of violence are a no-go in China. But obviously, like I mentioned, 1.4 billion people. If even 10% of that's 100 million potential customers.
Yeah.
Cell phone, and this applies to all forms of, I'm sure, cell phone games and console games. Nintendo's getting the Switch in there apparently, and now they're gonna have to follow these rules. Mm-hmm. And any publishers, I mean, obviously you can't just ignore it. They're gonna have to make custom versions of these games.
Yeah.
To sell in the Chinese market, because this has happened before. Where certain regions get different versions of the game. A game that I love to talk about here is that Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
In America, oh yeah, you got to see Leon S. Kennedy die in so many different ways. Like you got to see his head flop. You see his head flop off you see his head get impaled if the blind monster hurt him and punched him, got him right in the face. Apparently in the Japanese version, in Japan too, they got some rules. Mm-hmm. Boom! Like anytime there was a near death like that, you'd see it almost happen, and then it'd just be you are dead. They cut it off.
Yeah.
And like anytime like the big chainsaw guy, like the chainsaw would come to the chest, and you're dead. So this has happened before, where there's a censorship of violence, but right here, like in China, apparently, no blood, no corpses. You can't even see a dead body. So this puts a big restriction on video game developers if they want to release something.
Yeah.
And it's already been happening now, where a game that just came out for the PlayStation 4, I was reading about Devil May Cry 5. There was a woman who kind of showed a little bit of cleavage. When they released the game in America, they had to put a ray of light covering up the cleavage completely.
Wow.
There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of more censorship, a lot more control that's being taken. It's like, of course, naturally people are like, I want my violence. Well, we don't have to worry here in America.
Yeah.
Because here, it's a fundamentalist Christian society. Violence is totally okay. The sexual content, but your violence, your GTAs are your Grand Theft Auto 6 will be perfectly fine here. But I was just very fascinated with this, because before, I guess China has been on and off about this gaming thing. They're opening up, but all right, here are your restrictions. You want some money? Because as we've talked a lot on this podcast, is that the film industry has been kind of become dependent on China.
Yeah, because of it's a huge market.
There's a lot of money there. At the end of the day, what does everybody want? Money. Everybody wants to get paid, So I read that article today. I was really especially that there's a potential of $30 billion of revenue just sitting out there.
That's crazy.
China, of all these people, you're gonna have to dance around these rules, and I just found it very fascinating.
That's nuts, man. It's been a long time. That was a thing for a while, right? Where you couldn't really do that stuff here, right? In certain video games. Remember that whole Mortal Kombat thing? Yeah, the whole the blood code, where you had to enter a code to unlock the blood, or the Super Nintendo one had no blood at all, and everybody wanted that was one of the times because the Super NES was dominating the Genesis, but that was one of the times when the Genesis game sold more than the SNES was. Oh, because on the Genesis Mortal Kombat, ABACABB, I still remember the code. Because you have to enter that code, and then all of a sudden the Sub-Zero's ripping heads off, Kano's ripping out hearts, and you're getting all freaking Scorpions setting people on fire. Oh, all right, this is the real Mortal Kombat. Yes. And then especially in the early 2000s, there was a lot of groups who were really going after video game brands. A lot of
I want to say religious right groups, back when they were occupying their time going after video games, saying, "Oh, video games are the cause of all the problems. It encourages kids to be violent. Blah 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 blah." It's been obviously it's been since proven. Oh no, it's not video games. People are if a violent crazy person is already violent crazy, the video games are not gonna encourage him. If you're like a peaceful person, you just get your rage out in the games. Okay, cool. Like, I don't consider myself a violent person, but I will cut through a motherfucker in some Devil May Cry. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. Because I saw something on what was it, Vice? They were talking about. I forgot where it was. Was it Japan maybe? Mm-hmm. They were talking about like how video game addiction's like really bad and like.
It's really bad in Japan, and especially in Korea. I remember there's an older game called StarCraft, where a lot of people just play it for hours on end to the point, or even World of Warcraft, they play the game for hours, even neglecting their own health. Yeah. Like, they'd be hungry, but nope, I still gotta keep going. They're like, it was made fun of in South Park. Yeah. World of Warcraft was where there's the dude just eating Cheetos, and he was like, he barely moves, doesn't react.
Yeah, I was watching this whole story on it, and they were showing how, like, they had these, camps where they had to, like, take, like, basically rehab, like, get these guys out of that mindset. Yeah,
I can say I was pretty addicted to a lot of games at various points in my life.
I feel that's a bigger problem than violence.
It's like people losing themselves. Yeah. I don't know if anyone else here who's watching. I remember Second Life.
Oh yeah. It
was like a lot of people were giving up their real world to live in this Second Life. the crappy lawnmower man looking world. Which I never understood that one. Yeah. I remember I could have sworn there was like an Office joke, wasn't there? Where Dwight was living in the Second Life and Jim created
just to mess with him.
Got himself into the game to prank him within the game.
But was it Dwight's Second Life? He had created his desk and everything. Like, he was just
It was kind of sad. Like his Second Life was basically his real life. Yeah. He didn't like Jim was like flying around and then Jim ended up being like more addicted to it. Yeah. Wasn't he? Yeah, see, right over here, SoCal RMD on Twitch. So, people have died by staying up and playing, ignoring food and bathing out. It's like if you don't sleep for like 3-4 days, you can die. Yeah. If you just keep yourself up, it's nuts. But now it's just going crazy. Something else that happened recently that I haven't mentioned is Sony is banning sexual content in games globally. It used to be very regional. Mm-hmm. I learned from my boss there's a lot of Japanese PS4 and PlayStation Vita games. They're extremely sexual content. Yeah. A lot of they call them pantsu games, where you're looking at girls' panties. There's a lot of stuff. These girls are possessed by demons. The only way we can free them is by stripping them. I shit you not. Look up Akiba's Beats and Senran Kangetsu. Like we have them at work. And I'm just like, what the hell? It's like no shirts, no shoes, no service edition. I was like, what is this? What are these games? Yeah. And then my boss Bobby's like, oh yeah, those are like basically borderline porn games. But apparently Sony just very recently announced, oh no, they're cracking down. Like those would be fine to be released in Japan. If they censor them a little bit, they'd be okay for North American release. But now they're cracking down. Any future PS4 games, any PS5 games have to abide. There's no strong sexual content. I guess maybe they can probably still hint at it. Yeah. But no more, I'm assuming even like older games like the God of War, where that game famously had very strong sex scenes. Like you couldn't see them, but you could hear it. Yeah. And there'd be a jar falling over. The more vigorously you combo, because you'd have to enter in combos. while the God of War was ravaging a couple women, you enter in the combo all right, triangle, X, 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 circle. And then all of a sudden you see all these life bars. All these you're getting all this XP. It was nuts. SoCal MD asked, who made these games? Pornhub? No. Very horny Japanese. It's very normal. Over there in Japan, I've said this before to many friends, where over here we're like pro-violence but boo sexuality, where it's like the other way around in a lot of other countries, where it's like, sexuality is fine, sex is normal. It's violence, it's really, really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you see, my mom always brings it up how if you look at the newspaper from Mexico, they'll show some gruesome stuff on the newspaper, But then when anything sexual, like, they cover that shit up. Like, you know.
It's funny because then like you have all the weather. I mean, the most famous weather girl in the world. Showing her ass all day long. They have all female. It's like they've just the new. I swear, I remember when I was still would see what my mom was watching when I was living with her. Yeah. I'd see the news. It's just 4 hot chicks.
Yeah.
It's like your Channel 5 news team. Boobs, 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 and booty. And booty with the weather. And I was like, oh, it's very weird, but you're right. They show all this violence, but sexuality. It all depends on. I think it was a stand-up comic on I forget which. I'm not sure if it was Jay Moore or someone who was explaining this. It was like, oh yeah, the whole. It's religion. It's all based in religion. Yeah. Oh, okay, sex bad, violence good here. Other countries, oh yeah, violence bad, sex okay.
Yeah,
this is how we procreate. It just it's very confusing. But apparently, Sony has been motivated even in their own home country, Japan. They're going to start banning sexual content. It's more about the article I was reading is more kind of response to Me Too, where it's like, oh no, we can't be having these games where one of the games at work is like you make these amazing meals for the girls and they become sexually infatuated because you fed them so well.
Wow.
Senran Kingetsu. Oh, that's funny. Jai Potter here mentions Dead or Alive 7. No, Dead or Alive 6 has already had they already removed the boob physics. That's a fighting game where famously the boobs would move in ridiculous ways. They had an entire engine that was dedicated to the breasts. That just controlled the physics of the boobs. Like, depending on how the female characters would kick or punch, the boobs would move in accordance with them. And they would be outlandishly huge. Oh God, Jai Porter brings back a terrible memory from the early 2000s. The Guy game. This was very much from the era of what's a Girls Gone Wild type of thing, where it's like you play this trivia game, and if everyone performs well, then it would show you a girl in a wet t-shirt. The Guy game. Remember that game? I think it was eventually banned, and we were not allowed to sell it. I think we were all still working at GameStop at that point in 2004, 2005. I remember when it got banned, I remember we borrowed a copy, went to Jai's house, and we played it, and it was like mediocre. Even back in our broadband, before broadband, we could still find better pornography than this Guy game. SoCal RMD over here on Twitch says, Dead or Alive with no boo physics is a sky without clouds. The creator himself, Tomonobu Itagaki, if I remember his name correctly. He was famous for Super Violent Ninja Gaiden and Super Booby Dead or Alive. But, the world changes, you know. The super hyper duper sexualization. We have to rely on Pornhub for that now, everyone. we have to rely on those on those sources to get our crazy sexual stuff. It just nutso, I say. Nutso. Yeah. I love old video games. Not just because they're full of violence and boobs. I really love older video games. I was going through one of my. I've unearthed most of my game collection out of my mom's garage, and now I have it in some of it at a storage facility and some of it at the cat house with me and Rosa. And I was looking through some of them, and man, a game that I really enjoyed. I'm gonna have Rosa play it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stream that. It's a game called Katamari Damacy to completely change things. It was this weird game, and in fact, I was reading a game magazine the other day. I found a Barnes and Noble. me and Rosa found a Barnes and Noble in Irvine on our way back up from San Diego, and I was like, oh wow, it's a game magazine. Lo and behold, published in the UK. Because that's where game magazines still exist, apparently, in the United Kingdom, not here in America. And I was looking at and it's funny, I was like, Katamari Damacy, and I was telling Rosa about it. Oh, you'd like this game. The point of the game, so like the king of all the cosmos, he got drunk and he erased all the stars in the sky. And so now you are the prince of all the cosmos. You have to help build all these stars. And the way you're going to build these stars, you're going to go down to Earth. You're going to take this little Katamari ball and you're going to roll up shit. And so the entire point of the game, you just take the controller and you're just using the sticks like a tank. You know, that moves you forward and back. This one moves side to side. And you're just going to roll up shit. And then you just roll up shit and then get your Katamari bigger and bigger. And then I was like, oh shit. I think, because Rosa, she's not really into the video games. Not that much. But I was like, oh, she really liked this game. Because the second best thing, other than it being a very simple and fun game, the music of the game is amazing. Like, they released the soundtrack separately, and the soundtrack sold like crazy. It's all like it's very peaceful and like very catchy little tunes. Na 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 Akatamari Damasi. It's this fun and weird game, and which if you can still pick up if you go to @DustyGames. You can get Katamari Damacy for your PS2, or you can even get it Me and My Katamari for your PSP. And I believe there's a PS3 Katamari Damacy. I could be wrong, but if my memory serves correct, if you have a PS3, you can still get a Katamari Damacy as well. Go to @DustyGames and check it out. There, our awesome sponsor. And no, I did not just drop that plug because I noticed he just started watching right now. Hey, Bobby. So yeah, this game it's really weird. And I forgot, like, I love these weird games from back in the day because I've been on this real on this retro kick. That's why I want to. We eventually will get this show on the weekends. Like, yeah, I was originally going to do a test episode of Game Time with Dre or whatever we're going to end up calling it on the weekends, where we sit here and play a retro game. But I ran off to San Diego with my lady to celebrate our anniversary. But I've been going through all this older stuff, and man, I keep looking at this stuff and I'm like, I loved all of this older shit. Like last week after the show, I tested my PS2 to make sure that was still working. I was playing Burnout 3 Takedown, and man, it was hard to play. I think my reflexes are slow. Also, I was trying to play Burnout with an arcade stick, which was very difficult. That was not ideal. I have to go dig up some batteries for my old Logitech PS2 controller, so I can have my analog sticks and my buttons, so I can try to play more normally. But man, I love older games. There's just some magic to it from the olden times. Yeah, I fired up Super Smash Brothers last night.
Oh, nice.
Because they had a whole bunch of DLC had come out, and I guess maybe trying to play Smash Brothers by yourself is very I think it's very futile. Yeah. Much like if you try to play Rock Band by yourself, it's very masturbatory. It's just you by yourself. And like trying to play Smash Brothers or something that's meant to be played with multiple players by yourself is not fun. Yeah. And so I was like, oh man, I need to dig up a second Xbox controller because I'm gonna put you. Well, not today, obviously, but I'm bringing the Xbox original. I gotta dig up either a second controller or I gotta hit up my boss and buy or borrow a second original Xbox controller. We're gonna play Justice League Heroes because I don't the way I'm gonna get you to play games, Mr. Milano, is got to be comic book related, be it like X-Men Legends, which I know I have, friggin' Marvel Ultimate Alliance. That's another fun one. Oh god, I loved that game back in the day. It'd be so much fun. It's like when we can't get someone on the weekends, I'm gonna put you behind the wheel and we're gonna play some Justice League Heroes. There you go. Because you know the main reason. I bet you can figure out the main reason why I like the Justice League Hero games. Justice League Heroes. Martian Manhunter. That is correct. One of the few rare games where I can use Martian Manhunter. I don't count those Injustice games. No. I just can't get behind that Mortal Kombat engine. It just I'm very old. I don't like games where I have to press a button to block. Yeah. I grew up holding back on the stick to block. This whole pressing a button to block thing, man, I've never. I think Mortal Kombat 3 was the most I ever played. I think that was the one I played the most. But I can't get these newer games. I can't do it. Mortal Kombat 11. I just found out comes out tomorrow. I hadn't been paying attention. But Mortal Kombat 11. Ronda Rousey is gonna be the voice of Sonya Blade apparently, and. Yeah, the WWE was doing some big promotion for it a few weeks ago. I didn't put the math together. I'm like, oh, WWE's really pushing it. I'm like, oh, wait, it's coming out. My boss, Bobby, mentioned, oh, yeah, MK11 comes out tomorrow. I'm like, what the hell? It's even come out on Nintendo Switch. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's coming out on all the systems. But, yeah, new games, they don't have, see right here, Giant Potter, old games have charm. And that's rare for a new game to have it. Yeah, it's there's something to these older games. That's why I always say a lot of this older stuff, I really like it. I like the older stuff better, like NES, Super NES, N64, because the game developers had to try harder. Yeah, they had to be more creative because the tools they were working with were much more limited. You go back and look at this older stuff. I fired up on my Nintendo Switch. They put all these old NES games. They had a game I had never been able to play before. Is this weird game called Star Tropics. It's this weird game where you go to an island and you gotta find your uncle, and then you're armed with a yo-yo, and then you occasionally find a baseball bat, and you're fighting off snakes and bats and all kinds of crazy shit. And I remember reading about it in magazines back in the old days, in magazines again. Reading about this game, it always looked incredibly challenging, and I finally they added it to this. They have this NES service on the Nintendo Switch. If you subscribe for $20 a year, you get this whole swath of NES games that you could play. And I finally got to try it for the first time ever, and it was really engaging. This old ass NES game from the late 80s. That probably was more early 90s, late 80s, early 90s game. It was really good. I'm like, holy shit! It was hard as fuck. I had to fight this giant dragon thing. I had to figure out it was like fortune favors the brave when you're playing this game. I had to literally jump in front of it and yo 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 fuck you, run away. You're just hopping around, and it's very simple. It was very formatted like Legend of Zelda, and that kind of you're going from room to room, and then there's all these little blocks you have to hop back and forth on. And it was just, I was like, what the hell? This is, because I'd always heard that this game was good, but it was also very challenging. I finally got to see this crazy challenge. Yeah. It was nuts, but that was much more engrossing to me than trying to play some modern game. And that's where I've been doing that. It's I get this urge now. That's what I've dug everything up. I'm looking through all my stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to play this old GameCube game. I fired up. If you follow our gaming channel, Dre's Geek Philosophy gaming stream, a week or two ago, I played Star Fox Assault, and that was, oh man, that was really fun. I was struggling though. Yeah. And that's what I've been noticing. I fire up these old games, and I don't know, my reflexes. I don't know if it's just my old man hands, my sprained thumb. I can't do this. How did I do this back then? 25-year-old me could conquer Beautiful Joe with no problem. I played Beautiful Joe a few years ago at a gaming convention, and I couldn't get past the first level. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I could beat this game with my eyes closed back in 2005. But fast forward to 2019, or whatever, it was 2013, 2014 when I played at this gaming expo. I'm like, what's wrong with my hands? Is there something wrong with my hand-eye coordination? I'm like, why am I not dodging things? I can punch the bullets. Why am I not punching the bullets? Now, the cool thing about this game, Beautiful Joe, you could slow down. It was you were in a movie. Yeah. You can control the film. You could speed up the film, and you'd go super fast. Or you'd slow down the film, and then everything's in slow motion, and there's a bullet coming towards you. Punch the bullet, it goes back the other way. And then you speed up time, and that bullet goes super fast right into the enemy. I was struggling. I'm going to tell this story for the sake of Jai Powder here, because I know he's watching. So I bought this game, that whatever holiday actually it was 2003, 2004 when I bought this game. I had just started working at GameStop with that character Jai Powder, who's watching on Facebook Live. And I was playing the game, and I was like, I got to this boss. You're fighting a helicopter. Literally, this helicopter just comes down. And I'm like, you just have your fists and your feet. You can punch and you can kick. That's all you can do. I'm like, this helicopter's kicking my ass. I'm trying to jump up there and kick the helicopter. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. What the hell? Yeah. This is insane. And then Jai, who had already played the game, because I was late to the party on that game, and he's like, Dre, you can punch the bullets. I'm like, the fuck you mean I can punch the bullets? What the fuck are you talking about? You can punch the bullets. And then he's like, oh, you slow down time. The starts when it's normal time is you slow down time. And so I go home, fire it up, I start playing, and I slow down time, and you just see boom, the giant bullets coming towards you. I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, all right. Uppercut, bullet goes back into the helicopter. Massive damage. I'm like, and I went back to work the next day. John, I can punch the bullets. And the whole game had rim mechanics of in regards. Oh man, I can't. It's that bridge is too high. I can't jump up to that ledge. Yeah. And then you see there's a water pipe in the background. It's kind of leaking slowly. You speed up time. The area gets flooded. Manhole cover goes up with you. There's also it was very clever. It was very clever in how it used. Yeah. There'd be there was these things blowing fire. Whoa, whoa. You slow down time. And so you just slow down time and you just walk right past in slow motion. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's beautiful, and I've always liked clever games like that. When there's something clever to it, it was like, oh, like it's not super challenging. I mean, it's a challenge, but it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Like when that Super Mario Maker came out a few years ago for the Nintendo Wii U, and I'm sure it's going to come out for the Switch at some point if it hasn't already. People were making levels that are basically almost impossible, and I'm like, what is the point of that? Yeah. Like this built-in frustration. Like I can't deal with difficult for the sake of being difficult. If something is challenging, it's like, oh, where it requires some intelligence. That's where I'm in. I'm all about that.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of videos of that. Like those levels where you're literally just falling and you have to just control which way you're falling to pass this level, right?
Yeah, or one of the other ones is you have to constantly you have to carry a shell with you, you have to hop off the shell to get the next one. You have to grab another shell and and then you drop the shell and you're bouncing off the shell. Yeah. I'm like, why? Yeah. Why? Well, the amount of hate you have to have for yourself, the amount of self-loathing. Okay, here we go. I have to read this comment because this is what Jai would say. Yeah, all right, let me see. Let me expand that. This is for those of you who cannot see Jai Palra's quote. If you're watching on Twitch or listening on our podcast feed, if you're watching on Facebook, you can see Jai Palra's quote right there. Beautiful Joe is like sex. I can describe it to you until I'm blue in the face. But until you play it for yourself, you can't appreciate it. He would tell that to customers when we worked at GameStop. Because someone would eventually come up, what's this Beautiful Joe game? I'm like, oh, dude, this game is awesome. And he's like, no, drink, no. And he'd do his little Beautiful Joe was like sex. And I'm like, when he and I were both his managers, like, oh, Jai. And then when I became his boss, I'm like, John, you can't be telling people that Beautiful Joe is like sex. What's wrong with you? He can't help himself.
Can't help.
Kaizo level. I want to go back and play, but there's a lot of old games that I want to play. I want to play, but that's the goal of this show. I think we have Lamar coming up. I think I have to communicate with him. He said he was busy this past weekend because apparently there's an anime convention in Pasadena this past weekend. Mm-hmm. There's an anime convention every weekend for the next 3 months. Yeah, we're in the lead up to Anime Expo. So many conventions. So Lamar has already confirmed that he wants to be the guest this coming weekend. We gotta coordinate because I'll be very busy on Saturday. My lovely lady Rosa, it's her birthday. Yeah, right. Throwing a barbecue for her. It's gonna be fun. Can't wait. I like barbecues. Yeah. I'm gonna be more carne asada than man on Saturday. I'm excited. And something else I discovered looking through all my games that reminded me. I found that I have all these karaoke games on the PS2. I just gotta find the karaoke mics. I know I have 2 sets of them. I have to go dig through the garage. I'm like, where's the karaoke? Because I have all these discs. Oh, cool. Because Sony had put out these various karaoke games called SingStar. I think there's a modern version now, but it's all just digital. You can so it's all freaking iTunes-esque where you have to just buy all the music online. But I had all these discs that I picked up on clearance from Target. Like SingStar 90s, SingStar Classics, SingStar's Amped. I'm like, oh, yes. I have all. I'm like, I can provide karaoke for this party. Yes. Originally, it's going to just be Rock Band, like I did for her birthday last year. But this time, we'll just have straight up karaoke. Nice. That'll appease many a person, and it'll be much easier than having to do my old Rock Band roadie thing and bring all the plastic instruments out. I guess I just gotta. I know my PS2 works. I just gotta find those darn microphones. I know I have them. These PS2 USB microphones. I have to dig through my little miniature Temple of Doom in the garage of my mom's. Like, where are the damn SingStar mics? What do I do with those? Why don't I label boxes? What's wrong with me? Some of them are labeled. It's all the stuff I don't need that's labeled. There you go. It's like years ago, I was searching for a bunch of GameCube controllers. I had a Smash Brothers night when the last Smash Brothers game had come out 5 years ago. I had a Smash Brothers night, and I was desperately searching. Where the fuck? Because back when I worked at Nintendo, take a drink, everybody. I saved all these GameCube controllers because when I had started at Nintendo in 2005, the GameCube was still around. Yeah. And so I had to constantly be replacing GameCube controllers. Target did. Target did have a crappy GameCube interactive. I'd have all these controllers with these arms on them, these built-in arms. Like I had all these controllers, and after the GameCube went kaput and they killed all the interactive systems, I had this stack of GameCube controllers, which I think I was supposed to send back to Nintendo, but I never did because I knew like, oh man, I'm gonna need these one of these days because people. It was generally considered the best controller for Smash Brothers, and then Nintendo realized, oh, people really did think it's the best controller. They released an adapter, so you can keep playing it on the next system. I think the adapter I have for my Wii U, I think it works on the Switch, so you can still keep using these controllers. I was like, oh, I knew I had this box with like 10 of them, but I didn't know where it was in my mom's garage. I was already living in Pasadena, and I was going back, and I'm like, she's like, what are you looking for? I'm like, I'm looking for a box. With a bunch of controllers that look weird. They look like vibrators. That's for Sam Zia. Because he always can... Yeah. The dolphin vibrator. Because the GameCube controllers, they look like weird little... Yeah. Shocker. I remember like box after box. It was like buried in the deepest, darkest depths. Like I had this just wall of boxes of all my Nintendo shit that I never sent back. I sent a lot of stuff back. But there's a lot of shit they didn't know I had. And all this stuff, and I finally found it. I'm like, yes! It's like a box with like 10 of them. Like I grabbed a whole bunch of them. Like, yes! And then Smash Night, we all had GameCube controllers. Nice. Because my friend, my friend Kiet, he brought his GameCube adapter. I had my GameCube adapter. 8 controllers. Big ass screen. Everybody was playing Smash Brothers. It was a pretty awesome night, if I do recall correctly. Fun times for everyone. Fun times for everyone. So if let's say, dear viewer, if you want to be a guest on Game Time with Dre, I think that's the name. I don't know. I can't commit to a name. I'm bad at committing to names to these shows. So yeah, we have good names with it. Dre's Geek Philosophy, Multiverse Comic Show, Game Time with Dre. I guess. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. But if you fair viewers, if you are in the Los Angeles area and you want to game with Dre, if you want to talk about your gaming history, I know Jay Polidor wants to. You come down here, we can tell stories. You can pick from my game collection, or if you have something that you want to bring and share with us, and I have an appropriate system to play it on, well, you can bring it down, and you can communicate with me. Either message me if you're a personal friend on Facebook, just message me on my instant messenger. If you're not a friend, then message me through this show, and we shall see. We're making a schedule of people who can and when they can come down and game with Dre, and then we'll stream that. It'll be fun. It's just like it's 15-20 minutes. I'm not having anyone sit here, and we're not going to slog through an hour of something. That's not the plan. I find fun stuff. Oh, Daniel, River City Ransom. Oh, I love that game. That game is so cool. I think I have it on my 3DS. I'm not sure if that's... I feel like I have it somewhere else that could be playable. But River City Ransom, that was one of the first games that I knew I had to have someone else with me to play. No. The first, I had rented it. My cousins were coming over from Mexico. And I was like, oh, I told my parents, we've got to go to the JC Video. I don't know if you remember old JC Video. And I'm talking about the OG one, not the giant one that they had. I'm talking about the OG one. That was right there. And I remember going in there. I'm like, oh, do you have River City Ransom? They didn't have the box. I'm like, oh yeah, we have it. I'm like, I need that. And then my cousin came over, popped that in. We got all the way to the end. Nice. Because as long as one of you is still alive, the other one can come back. Yeah. You lose half your money, but that's okay. You got no money? Fuck it. Take half a nickel. You can't. As long as one of us stayed alive. The other one, stay alive long enough for me to come back. All right, I come back, I have a full health bar. Okay, you can die. Go ahead. We just keep taking turns dying, and we just double team all the bosses till we get to the very end. They re-released it for the 3DS years ago. I bought it, and I leveled up enough, because that was one of the games where you could level up. But it couldn't save. It didn't have the save feature in it, because it required a battery. So it had like a 64 character password. Oh man! Because like there was all sorts of different stats you could have. Yeah. So like 64 characters, and you're talking about numbers and letters and uppercase and lowercase and symbols, just to get all the permutations of what you could potentially have. And I remember like, oh fuck that shit. But doing that back in the old NES, I remember we'd write down the passwords, but you try to enter that back in. I'm a dumbass kid trying to write down a password. Of course, I probably would confuse an O and a 0. Yeah. Fuck! We'd lose all our progress. on the 3DS, I had leveled up enough where I could beat the game by myself. I didn't need a second player. I went through and I was just like fucking stone hands, because there was these cool moves called hand, like stone hands, and you can do this tumbling thing. It was an awesome game. Gosh, if I can find, they did a remake on the PS4. If Daniel Wong, if you want to, I will see about getting that remake on the PS4 if I can borrow it from my boss without having to, because there's this company called Limited Run Games, where they take games that are digital only, but they'll make a limited run of physical copies. But these have become like fucking commodities. Like they're only a certain number are printed. Like, and then to order it from the website, they'll only let you buy like 1 or 2 copies. And then my boss has a connection, so he resells them. Yeah. So there is a River City Melee that came out on the PlayStation 4, and it continues to be a thing that happens on there. But if I can get my hands on River City Melee, Daniel Wong, and if you want to be the guest and we can play River City Melee or River City Ransom for 15 minutes, that is also an option. So, see right there, Giant Paul put Stone Hands, Acro Circus, that's the tumbling one, and Dragon Feet. Because your feet, we would kick 3 times quickly, and then most of the enemies would die instantly. most of those moves could like instantly kill a lot of the regular enemies, and then you just fuck up the bosses. Yeah. It was such a fun game, and it's funny because there's such a love for that game. They spawned all these other ones, like I said, there's this River City Melee, and I saw on the 3DS they have like the River City Volleyball, because it was that same company that created Super Spike Volleyball, and it was the same little guys with the little pompadours and the weird faces, and they all go barf when you beat them up. It's an awesome game. So Daniel Wong, if you want to be a guest, there's many times I remember going to Daniel Wong's house back in the day. We play Smash Brothers for the whole evening, and we go to El Tepeyac and get a friggin' Emmanuel's burrito. Yeah. I remember those. That was some good ass times playing Smash Brothers for an entire evening and afternoon. I remember those days. I like those days. I do have a 64. The N64 is an option. I only have 2 games for N64. I have Star Fox 64 because a work of art, and I have WWF No Mercy, not that WWE bullshit. WF No Mercy, because that's the greatest wrestling game of all time, hands down. No argument whatsoever. So, yeah, message me, contact me if you want to be a guest on Game Time with Dre, or Gaming with Dre, or Gaming History with Dre. I don't know anymore. Something. Gaming. Weekend. Yeah, the one I can't call it Superstar Save Point because that's what it's called on Up Up Down Down. No. It's basically the concept I'm borrowing. Just, message me. Contact Dre if you want to be a guest on Gaming with Dre, Game Time with Dre, Something with Dre. Something. Talking games. Yeah. Insert name here. I'll go back and edit that. And be like, I'll just move my mouth, and then I'll insert into the video. Insert name here. Whatever. You can follow me on Twitter at DreGP Podcast. You can follow Pete on Twitter at Nostalgic Comics. On Instagram, he's nostalgic_comics. I always look over here. Yeah. He has it on the chalkboard up top over here. On Facebook, it's Nostalgic Books and Comics for Pete Molini. You can follow me at SoCalClone. I'm in the process of figuring out if I want to give up my personal account and make it the podcast account. Yeah. Which will just be flooded with cat photos anyway. Of my 2 beautiful kitty cats, Yogi and Tina. And also gaming stuff and podcast stuff. Who knows? And of course, if you're listening to this on podcast form, you can always watch us live Monday nights at DreGP Podcast on Facebook, or just search Dre's Geek Philosophy Podcast. The YouTube page, someday I'll work on it some more. You can find us on, if you want to watch classic episodes from 2 years ago. Yeah. You can watch episodes 1 through 15 or 1 through 13 are all up on the YouTube page, as well as a bunch of select episodes that I exported from Twitch to YouTube. Hello, Twitch people. SoCal RMD. It looks like he took off. But if anyone, you can also watch us. We do simulcast this show on Twitch, and I will eventually be streaming games on Twitch at some point as well. Yes, Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been Tracy Fossey for Pete Molini for Dre Cervantes. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. If you want to listen to us talk about comics, stick around this Facebook channel. Wednesday night, 8:30 Pacific time. We'll talk about comics. Pete will tell you all about the brand new comic news. Talk about all the brand new comics that come out Wednesdays, 8:30 Pacific time. And then gaming show at some point on the weekend coming. Most likely Sunday because I'm busy all day Saturday. We'll see you guys then. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, Twitch. And